We're back on Get Up, and this one stunned me. After Joe Burrow's cryptic message last week, his performance against the Ravens was almost as shocking. The Bengals drove into Baltimore territory 4 times, couldn't score, were eliminated from the playoffs in a startling whimper of a game. And then here was Burrow afterwards. Again, keep in mind the context of the week he just had.
Are you still enjoying playing for the Bengals? And what did you make of kind of what happened in your comments on Wednesday?
My comments had nothing to do with Cincinnati. My comments had everything to do with me and my mindset in football.
Do you feel like there's too much weight on you where it feels like if you're not perfect, the team is good enough around you to pick you up?
You know, I want everything on my plate. I want, that's the position I want to be in. And, you know, I feel confident in all those guys in the locker room. Like I said, today, there's not a team in the NFL that would have won the game today if I was the quarterback.
Oh, he takes it all on himself. When you watched the tape, did you see what the rest of us think we saw? I mean, he did not look like himself at all yesterday.
It was probably as disinterested I've ever seen Joe Burrow look, just the way that he played. And my takeaway is the play was more concerning than the comments of last week. Just did not look engaged in football. This guy's one of the great competitors, this interception. I don't ever see Joe Burrow throw that interception. And the way that it looked and he played, it just came across as, I don't want to be here. That's an assumption on my end. I'm not saying that that's what his mindset, but I've watched this dude compete his absolute tail off. Hembo sent me something today. This year, targeting Jamar Chase.
Yeah.
He's 28 of 48 with 1 touchdown and 3 picks, 52 QBR. That's one of the great quarterback-wide receiver combinations in the NFL. Mm-hmm. And for some reason, that just hasn't connected this year. And the comments they took me back. And obviously, like, the play yesterday was just bad.
It's just strange because he came back against that same Ravens defense 2 weeks ago on Thanksgiving night.
Lit him up.
And then they lose a game the next week. We hear all the comments that he makes on his 29th birthday, and then goes out and plays a game in which you describe him to be completely indifferent.
Disinterested.
Something's
wrong. Something's not right. And look, the comparisons to Carson Palmer were the obvious and easy ones to make. That was a quarterback, for those who don't know, a generation ago, who got frustrated playing for the Bengals and wanted out of there, and he wound up having to retire and then unretire before he got traded to the Raiders. And so people made that comparison. The other one that I made last week, I said, sometimes it sounds a little more like Andrew Luck to me than it sounds like Carson Palmer. I want to make it very clear. I'm not reporting anything. I don't know anything. I've not talked to Joe. I don't even know Joe Burrow. But that sounds like a young man. I mean, at some point, D-Wood, you played the game. You get beat up playing that sport, regardless of position. And at some point, you don't have to be 37 years old to say, I've just had enough.
Yeah, man. It just seems like when I watch Joe Burrow and his body language, it just looks like there's no joy.
Well, he said that.
There's no joy from the game right now, which, as a football fan and as a fan of Joe Burrow, it actually sucks because I love watching. I think, in my opinion, Joe Burrow plays the quarterback position, maybe the purest quarterback in the league. And right now, it just looks like we're losing, like the league, like we're losing Joe Burrow. I don't know any other way to really describe it, but I think he needs to get the hell out of Cincinnati. I think that organization's not doing him any favors. I feel like he needs a fresh start somewhere else.
Look, first off, I got to say this, like, losing sucks, all right? That's the look I get right there. He's fed up with it. Look, this man, here's what I know. He rehabbed his butt off 3 weeks or 4 weeks ahead of schedule just to come in and try to compete with his guys. I think he's disgusted with the performance of his teammates, too. Like, I'm sorry, but you got a left guard that turns the guy loose. He gets sacked one time. They don't even block the defensive tackle, all right? Then I see another time they don't block him again. He throws an interception. How the hell you turn a defensive tackle loose? I think he's fed up with the commitment of how would the Cincinnati Bengals be if every one of those Bengals were like me? If they were like Joe Burrow, this team would be undefeated. I see a guy that has had it up to here. There's no energy in this building. All right? He's the only one trying to bring it and saving it. But when I see a team that gave up 29-yard carry to Derrick Henry, a 24-yard carry to Derrick Henry, and a 22-yard carry, all in the third quarter.
Yeah.
This team quit. He knows it. He's smart. He knows it. They need to have. They need way more juice in this building. And to me, you don't ever let this man leave your building. All right, you got to make it right. You got to make it right and surround him.
Make it right.
Surround him by guys that are like-minded. That's why he's having a miserable time right now. That's the look I see in this man.
I think that's your concern is where's the hope for the future? If you're him, if you're Joe Burrow and you take a step back in the situation, what is there to look forward to? The offensive line is still poor. The defensive talent hasn't elevated. You're going to trust the people who have brought in that defensive talent to all of a sudden revitalize the defensive talent. I think if you're Joe Burrow, it just doesn't look promising. Yes, he'll have stats. Yes, he's a great quarterback. But when it comes to winning and truly competing, there's just not a lot that you can point to and sit there and say, I believe in this.
It's worn down a lot of players there. We've seen this play out with Carson Palmer.
Mm-hmm.
We saw Carson Palmer go through something very similar and say, I'm done. I've had enough. And I don't know if Joe Burrow is there or getting there or thinking like that to be there, but it feels a little bit like that right now to me.
It's tough to watch. I mean, yesterday was a tough game to watch. I'll admit, I thought it was going to go completely the opposite direction. I thought after the comments
Baltimore
of
didn't
this
even
week,
play good.
Yeah.
And that game wasn't even close.
That wasn't. All right, we're going to lose Dan because he's got to fly to Pittsburgh for NFL Live this afternoon. So let's do a quick Monday Dan and get a couple of takes for you before you go. Let's start with Trevor Lawrence. What did you see from him yesterday?
He's as hot as any quarterback in football, and we've never seen this version of Trevor Lawrence in the NFL. He's unleashed. He's unlocked. The confidence that this dude has right now is absolutely outrageous. There's no window that he doesn't think he's going to be able to fit a ball into. He's playing ridiculously athletic. Also, Jacoby Myers might be the biggest in-season pickup out of any team in the NFL.
Yep. That team, everyone's waiting for Houston to come and take that division away. The Jaguars with a big win yesterday. How about out west in San Francisco?
Kyle Shanahan's best coaching job. Trent Williams hasn't missed a game, but Nick Bosa's played in 3. Fred Warner played in 6. Kittle's played in 9. Brandon Ayuk hasn't played in any, and they're 10-4. This is a remarkable coaching job. I don't know how good they are when it comes to the playoffs because they can't get to the quarterback. But what Kyle Shanahan and his staff have done out west is absolutely sensational. Coach of the year.
We don't even mention them. They could easily wind up the 1 seed. And then how about J.J. McCarthy last night?
Has had to calm the concerns in Minnesota. There are a lot of concerns with the way that he was playing, the mechanics, the misses, all that. Last 2 weeks, really good. Much more confident, much more just in structure, much more in control. If he can do that the next 3 weeks, I think that gives a lot different perspective and vantage point going into the offseason for Minnesota.
Rex, what did you think of him grittying into the end zone? Does not strike me as a move Rex Ryan would like.
No, how about we get in the end zone first, and then we can go ahead and do that little deal. But